Welcome, Harold. We are glad to have you here, and we are honored to have you here as well. Can you please tell us about you and introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. No, thank you, Amanda and Robin, for this. It's wonderful to have the chance to speak with you. Um, my name is Harold Campos. I am a principal program manager in the Azure Logic Apps team, who happens to manage the BizTalk server product and host integration server product as well. And I was born in Peru, Lima, Peru. I'm from Latin America, and I moved to Canada about 17 years ago, right? And I've been living in Canada for most of the time. Then I went back for a period of time to Peru back
Mm.
um, to enjoy a different weather, right? And then I came back. So now I'm in Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah. Which climate is the best?
You know what? I'm gonna say that Peru has everything. You know, every kind of weather. It doesn't get that cold or that hot. It can be very hot in the north. So
Yeah.
I really love the weather in the northern part of Peru, which is closer to equator.
Yeah.
Then you get to go to the beaches and everything.
Yeah. I've never been to either Peru or to Canada, but if I just think about them, I think there's two very beautiful countries.
Oh, you're right. So I think Canada will probably win the top two or three most beautiful places in the world, right? So
Mm,
it's just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous
mm.
place, right? I'm sure that Sweden and
Yeah, I was
it,
about to say, have you been in Sweden?
It's all right.
yeah, I'm sure that was going to be the next question, but in Denmark, I've been in Denmark, which is fairly close, as I
Yeah.
just learned, right? And didn't have the chance to go to Sweden, but yeah, I mean, those are beautiful places to go. And I have never had the chance to go to Egypt. Looking forward to do that, to go to Cairo
Yes,
and
I would love to welcome you in Egypt one day. Maybe it will happen. Now you said it, so we have it on recording as well.
there you go, man. There you go. You guys have to go
The
with me.
invitation is out there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean but please tell us a bit about more about. I mean, you moved from Peru to Canada, but what is something you have learned in Canada that you didn't know about in Peru?
I think there is something that I've learned. So I've been traveling
Mm,
for more than 17 years, all around the world doing work and essentially when you don't travel, you don't realize that you think that we are so different, but in the end we are the same. I mean, we have our differences and everything, but then you realize that we all want the same things, and most of the time, I guess, right? And to your question, between Peru and Canada, I think that Peru is a place where you have a lot of cultures that are converging.
Mhm.
In Canada, you have the same, but the process is very structured, right? So I think in Peru it happened over so many years. That you have folks from China, from Africa, from Japan, from other parts of Latin America, the indigenous from Peru, the Spanish, and but in Canada you see that it's an actual melting pot, right? So you see people from everywhere. So then you get to learn a lot of every single culture,
mm,
and to some degree, you become like a world citizen, right? A citizen of the world, as they say, because you are exposed to so many different cultures and food and traditions and everything that you end up understanding that you don't necessarily belong to one place only, but to
mm,
so many different places. It's interesting, the mindset.
It's a really
How
nice perspective. Actually, I never thought about it this way, but it's actually true. It's really true.
yeah.
Like even though Sweden have been up there, I can relate to that because
Yeah.
even though Sweden have is not as like new as Canada.
Mm,
In that case, it have been old country where it's like there is Swedish native
mm,
still here.
mm,
But
Mhm.
when I moved around, like when I moved from Egypt to here, I start to feel happy I'm a world citizen where I can actually have been exposed to more than I actually have been exposed to when I was in Egypt, even though it was a multicultural
Mm.
place. Grew up in Cairo. It's like it's an explosion of cultures there, but
Yeah,
yet there is another perspective here,
yeah,
which
Of
is cool.
course.
yeah, yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I think, and you get to learn about. I think that changes your views and your perspectives on everything, right?
Yeah,
I think that is noticeable. Then when you go back home, then you realize that you have a bit of a different mindset.
Mm.
Your mind has changed, and you have changed as well, and they have changed too, right? So everybody has changed, right?
Yeah.
But in different manners.
But just, I mean, we are here to talk about technique, and we're here to talk about what you do at Microsoft, of course. But still, what is one thing that you don't do? I mean, you do a lot of technique, but what is something that the audience might not know that you do a lot on your spare time?
I always loved music, right?
Mm.
So what I tried when I was a young, when I was going to high school, I learned to play a few instruments:
Mm.
trumpet, euphonium, trombone, in a band.
Mm.
But as I lived in a small province in Peru, I was able to make some money out of it.
Mm.
In these local bands who travel from across cities, so I really enjoyed it because I was 14 years old,
Mm.
15 years old, and I was traveling to all of these places, and so then I learned to love music,
Mm.
I'm trying to keep that, right. So I play the saxophone.
Oh,
I play I I haven't played in I think in a month at least, but I have a tenor saxophone here, which is
mhm.
this big one, and then I have an alto saxophone in the other side, and I have a trumpet, and um, I get to play them, and I have a lot of music sheet over there, right, and
yeah.
books and everything, and lots of those are music, and then I have the IT part, the software part, so it's that's something that I don't want to lose. And the other thing is that my children, they I have tried to share this with my kids. My one of my daughters, she plays the drums,
Yeah,
Mm.
and I'm getting great at it, and the other two daughters, because I have three daughters, one of them plays the flute,
yeah.
and the other one plays the clarinet.
Mm.
So I'm hoping that at some point eventually we will play a song or something,
Ah.
and then I'll sell it and I'll make millions out of it. I'm just kidding. I don't think I'm gonna sell it. But eventually we will have it somewhere, and then I'm hoping that at some point when I'm old,
Yeah.
there, right, then I retire, and then I'll just spend my time playing instruments and reading
You already
instruments.
have some content out there with your YouTube channel, which is like you can see a mix of BizTalk, Azure, and saxophone. I
Exactly.
also yeah.
Yeah. That's
Lovely
the
mix.
cost. That's the
Okay.
cost of getting the information, right? I mean, you want to watch the video, yes. From time to time, you gotta listen to what I play, right? But I try not to add too many of those. Sometimes I hire some musicians to write some songs that I don't find it around. So I mean, there are music sheets for a lot of things,
Mm.
right? But for some songs that I like, recently there was one version of "Summertime" that I wanted to play,
Mm.
and I had to hire a guy to write it for me. It's not that no, I mean I can potentially do it, but it's gonna take me months, which
Yeah.
I don't have. So then I just hire the guy. He does it in a few weeks. He gives me the music sheet, and then I play it, and then everybody's happy.
That's
Okay.
good. Yeah,
But
exactly.
last music question on your LinkedIn. First of all, to the audience listening, follow Harold on LinkedIn. But on your banner, there's a piece of music. What is that piece of music?
That is "Summertime." That is "Summertime" by Ray Barretto. It's a different version.
Okay.
It's a jazz song. So I'll paste the name. I'll give you the name. But I love that song because it has this Latin swing. And that's this Latin
Oh,
swing to a classic, which is "Summertime" by Cindy Shade, I think, or George Gershwin. Yeah, I think it's George Gershwin.
Mm.
And that's a song that I just fell in love. The first time I heard it, I think I was doing some work in Mexico City, and I went to the hotel. It was a bit late,
Mm.
long days in Mexico City, and at the end of the day, I went to the bar to have a drink, and then someone was playing it in the saxophone, and I just fell in love with the song, and then I cannot stop playing it.
Yeah.
That's
Lovely.
cool.
That's lovely.
Yeah, so we're talking about the favorites now and like
Mm,
things, countries, music instruments, or
mm.
songs. But now let's take it to Asher
Yeah.
Great.
and how. Yes, and we have the Asher world and this. It's another dimension.
Mm.
So, what's your favorite Asher tool?
Logic apps, of course.
Okay,
Of
Actually,
yeah,
course.
you
Of
didn't
course.
think for 2 seconds there.
yeah, I didn't think it, man. It just came. It just came out. There's a reason for that.
Mm,
I fell in love with integration more than 24 years ago,
mm,
right? And,
Mm,
uh, so anything that does integration, and closer to my the area that is closer to me, which is the mainframe integration space. I love, right? And Logic Apps is. I'll tell you. I can tell you the whole story, but just to summarize, right? Logic Apps is a product that where we have brought a lot of the stuff, the heavy lifting of desktop server and host integration server into Logic Apps.
mm,
yeah,
Host integration server, the most famous and mature product for SNA integration and legacy mainframes integration. So a lot of those capabilities now they are part of Logic Apps. So
yeah.
then, to me, it's amazing to do some things that in the past I, was able to do only with host integration server on premises.
Mm,
Now I can do them from Logic Apps,
mm.
which I love, right? And being part of that team, the team who built it, the team who managed the feature and everything, I'm very proud of what the team did, and that's why, that's the tool that I love.
Yeah,
and you did an amazing job. All the team, everyone. It's an amazing. It's an incredible journey,
definitely.
especially the last 7 years. Was have been like it's just going up like okay. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It has changed a lot. I think it's grown and it's becoming more mature tool, right? I mean, we can also talk about BizTalk, the beast, right?
Mm, the
Yeah,
beast.
I think, but anyway, so it's about integration. It's all about integration.
Yeah, definitely.
I still have a heart for BizTalk also. So yeah, it's but
Let,
it's
let's not lose. We should talk about BizTalk definitely.
yes. Well, some other time we have another for some other time.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, talking about you, we said the favorite tool now, but the last guest we had in this podcast was Stefan, and we asked him to pass a question to the next guest, and he actually pasted the question: "What's your favorite integration pattern and why?"
You know, I love the scatter gather pattern, right? Because for many reasons, right? So in the legacy world, um, in legacy environments, it's very easy to find multiple environments with information that hasn't been ever synchronized, right? So then, when you do a query, you gotta collect what is coming from these multiple environments.
Mm,
So, and I found that very often, when you had to collect information from mainframes and iSeries systems, because while they do a great job, exchanging, replicating data,
mm,
um, they typically don't have the same usage patterns. So
mm,
that's why if you want to query data from different environments, then you gotta use scatter gather,
mm,
right? To throw the request and then aggregate it and then get it back, right? So that's I would say that that's probably the pattern that I like the most.
mm.
That's
That's good, and you should also. I mean, we will have a question to the next guest, but let's talk about that
Yeah, yeah,
later.
yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
we'll craft the question.
But should we? I mean, it is another session, I guess. But should we stop a bit in BizTalk because we know that I mean you are pasting a lot of videos with BizTalk to Azure
mm,
migration, and I mean a lot
Mhm.
of things happen now with Logic Apps hybrid and everything. I mean, can you tell us something about that and how the future of
Right.
Logic Apps looks?
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. No, thank you for asking. So, well, today we have a roadmap for BizTalk Server. We are supporting BizTalk Server 2020 until April 2028,
mm,
which gives customers about 4 years to conduct migrations,
mm,
and then they also enjoy 2 years of extended security updates,
mm,
right? which means that if something breaks between April 2028 and I think it's January or June 2030,
Mm.
they they won't get a break fix. Well, they won't get fixes for features, but they will get fixes for security, critical security issues, right? And yeah, of course, nothing is preventing customers to just continue running the product, right? The product. I just met a customer that is running host integration server 2000
Mm.
Okay.
on Windows Server 2003.
Mm.
So there are customers, and it was a bug.
Mm.
So you can imagine that as much as we want for customers to modernize, I mean we encourage them to do it. We give them the tools, we help them, but in the end, this becomes a business decision, right? And in the case of BizTalk Server, it's no different. BizTalk Server is it's a rock solid, mature product.
Mm.
Our team it's
Mm.
committed to our restock team is committed to support our customers along the life cycle.
Mm.
We don't have changes to the life cycle to communicate, right? That is the life cycle that we have, the official word. But our team is committed to support the products in this life cycle, right? If there is something that gets broken, then just please open a support case. We will be happy to take it,
Mm.
right? But something that we are being very intentional in is we are porting features that we
Mm.
call BizTalk extensibility features into Azure Logic Apps, right?
Mm.
I don't know if you saw the latest
Mhm.
addition, the rules engine
Yeah.
that came. I mean, getting the rules engine, it was a great win for a lot of BizTalk
That's
customers,
an amazing jump. Yeah.
Mm.
but I'm more surprised about the customers who are not BizTalk customers who really like the feature. So
Mm.
that's a feature
Okay.
that we're aiming to make available mostly for these BizTalk customers who had enjoyed the reliability of the rules engine runtime,
Mm.
right? Not so much the composer, but mostly the runtime, right? And yes, that is happening. But what I'm more surprised about is that a lot of the customers who are not BizTalk, they are using it right now because it has a great value. It has a tremendous value. The value of using a platform as a service product like Logic Apps
Mm.
that can scale out, that can be elastic, that gives you the ability to be exposed to REST API and everything,
Mm.
and then use it, with a rules engine pattern. So you
Mm.
can store rules, you can design rules, and then you can push rules, without the need of making changes to your workflows or to
Yeah.
your applications, just
Yeah.
through rules, external rules. So I think that idea is very compelling. So that's why when we were moving the feature,
Mm.
we had this hypothesis, right, about how well we did some research about if it would make sense to include a rules engine these days, which is a microservices world, right? Microservices, loosely coupled world. There are customers who perceive a rules engine as a monolith, while there are other customers who perceive this as a great vehicle for governance
Yeah.
and collaboration across microservices. So I think the greatness about the business that we all are in,
Mm.
right,
Yeah.
is that there's no one size fits all, and everybody has different they have different approaches to tackle specific problems, right?
And
Yeah.
also, the more you see those customers that's actually out there and
Mm.
explaining their solutions, they are the ones who succeeded to modernize. There is a lot, as you said in the beginning, they didn't modernize. And now, when you reintroduced the rule engine,
Mm.
they start to say, "Oh, this also exists now." So,
Mm.
but when it was introduced back in the days, everyone went crazy. I think, but I wasn't there
Mm.
when it was introduced first time.
Mm.
But like, I assume that it was the same effect. Now it's maybe the newer generation or the newer, like the new who didn't have it
Yeah. I think
actually understand the technology.
it's both words. I mean,
Yeah,
it's something familiar for the BizTalk users and the BizTalk developers and everyone, but also it's a new feature for the ones who has only been in Azure, and I guess that it's a great feature.
yeah. If
You
you
are
if you
spot on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you both are spot on, right? I mean, features, we do things and business do things because there is a business value to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Customers don't do things, but they look nice. I mean, we want all of our stuff to look nice,
Mm.
shiny and beautiful, right? But in the end, it's all about the business value,
Yeah.
right?
mm,
So yeah, it's interesting to see, how we gravitate around. Sometimes we focus more on how accurate the feature is, how perfect it is, but we should step back a little bit and ask ourselves if we are
Yeah.
actually, if there is a problem to solve, or if we
Yeah.
are running business value. Otherwise, there's no
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
on doing.
yeah. Over
This.
my over the years, I wouldn't even, like, as you were saying, I don't think that anyone interested in how beautiful my Logic app look like, or my BizTalk pipeline is
Yeah.
beautiful and structured, or my map have many pages, BizTalk map, or
Yeah.
maybe data
Yeah,
mapper in Azure. It doesn't matter how it looks like. The customer really don't really see that. They see what's happening after,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Exactly.
effect.
The integration can be 99.9% correct, but then 0.1% is not correct, and then everyone is like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't matter
something is
how
something is
beautiful all
broken.
of those
It
things.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I think you guys, yeah. So and that is the beauty of getting into product management, right? Which is
Yeah.
one of the areas that well, which is the core area of the work that I do.
Mm.
um, the beauty about product management is that it doesn't have one dimension, so it's multi-dimensional, right? So
Mm.
you have to learn from customers, from their patterns. You have
Mm.
to establish hypotheses, you have to validate them or
Mm.
invalidate them, right?
Mm.
And then, but I think the most important hypothesis is the
Mm.
one that determines whether something has business value or not,
Yeah.
right? And something that I did not mention is that before joining the engineering team,
Mm.
I spent about 15 years in the services organization in
Mm.
Microsoft. So I've been in Microsoft for more than 17 years,
Mm.
and during my first 15 years, I got a chance to work all around the world with different customers with different needs. And so then it is not, it is more about what I have been exposed by watching what they did, the creativity that customers bring, every time that they build a solution.
Mm.
But there is always the why. Why are we doing this? Does it
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sense? I think,
Mm.
and I think that is the question that we should be answering, right? Whether what we are using makes sense, and it is bringing
I,
ultimately big value.
I talked to a customer just yesterday, and he was more like, he wanted more whys from everyone involved, actually. I mean, from our side, but also from the other side and from the business side. He wanted more whys to be asked. So yeah, that's
Of course. No,
what.
of course.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's also get me to the. I get this question sometimes also
Mm.
when I get asked why,
Mm.
but when I do mistakes,
Yeah.
because that's also.
Well,
So I
well,
see
that's
where you're
one.
going.
Well, that's one thing. But the other thing is when someone looks at you and they say, "Why?
Yeah,
Why?" That's a
yeah,
that's a
this
different
why
why.
I.
That's yeah. Why, Ahmed? Why, Robin? That's a different kind of why, right?
That's you hear the difference in voice.
Exactly.
Exactly. The tone is a bit different. It's a tad different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also take us to the point where, like, since you have been in Microsoft for 17 years
Mm.
now, and you have been also maybe in other careers, or but a memorable mistake that you have done that you are allowed to share with us.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I think I've had so many mistakes, um but I mean, okay, so a mistake was always when you are in services and you have to do delivery of solutions, large complex solutions,
Mm.
because that's eventually where you get, right, the most
Mm.
Yeah.
complex, the largest, and whatever, right. I think it's all about the estimation, right?
Mm.
I think that's a challenge that we have in these large projects that have a finite date.
Mm.
You have to accomplish things by a date. I think my probably the biggest mistake or failure was a poor estimation, right? I mean, we venture to say to assume that something is going to take what it's going to take,
Mm.
right? And yes, sometimes you don't have the luxury of agile or scrum, because when you say a contract,
Mm.
it's not easy to just say, yeah, we'll sell you the work and we'll see how far we get. And the customers is like, no, you got to commit to something, right? I mean, that's the,
Yeah.
the,
That's actually,
the
yeah.
risk of business. So I
Mm.
think I did an estimation for a work that was supposed to finish in 6 months, and it took like 2 years,
Mm,
and I take a good portion of the responsibility because um, I was very optimistic, right?
mm,
But then also we had to face, a number of challenges with the technology that we introduced and everything, and um, in so then if you ask me, right, why was that a biggest mistake, is because when you are leading a team,
mm.
you are the responsible of a team, so then you are also responsible on recovering things, right? So
Yeah,
then that means more work for everybody, and tough situations to deal with, right?
yeah.
I think that would probably be one of my I don't know, biggest mistakes, in the career.
But you, I mean, since you have such an experience, I mean, from all kinds, and you actually mentioned this as a mistake. But what I mean, I guess that everyone can relate to this. I mean, the estimation is very hard. But what from your experience, what have you learned? What is the cure for estimation? What should you bring to
You,
the table when you do
well, you
estimation?
know what? Um, I love gradual approaches, right?
Mm,
I love approaches that are gradual and that are simplistic. You
mm.
know, here's the thing, right? And I mean, I could write a book of the things that I've seen. Not the things that I've necessarily
We're
done.
looking
Yeah,
forward
right?
to it.
We would buy it. No, no.
Yes,
Well,
I am. Yeah, you have two copies
two,
now.
two copies sold. No problem.
that's what it takes. So, um, one thing that I've noticed is that sometimes we think that by making something more complex, we make it better,
Mm,
and that is a fallacy. That is not true. I mean, it's, I just
mm,
keep saying simplicity is your friend. I mean, look for the simple solutions. Don't look to overcomplicate things, because every time that you overcomplicate something,
mm,
then you end up creating additional problems to
mm,
be fixed by someone else. Here's the thing, right? And we are seeing that with AI today, right?
mm,
AI, which has all of these engines and the models and everything behind the scenes,
mm,
cannot handle the complexity of the human being and everything around. So then, the more complex you create, a solution for a problem. So then you end up creating another problem,
Yeah.
right? And that's a typical pattern. Sometimes we do it because of ego. Sometimes we do it because we are so fixated in the solution rather than the problem. You
mm.
gotta you gotta focus on the problem
Yeah,
more than in the solution. The solution is a consequence, right? So
Mm.
it's just our nature. And
yeah,
then there are some things that you have to experience them, or that
yeah.
take time for you to realize, right? And then you get some gray hair or no hair.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you realize, oh, you know what? I should have done it differently, right? And that's life, right?
It is life. It is life. But let's flip the question then, I guess. I
Yes, I
mean,
think, yeah, the other side of the coin, where like the success, and then you mentioned that yes, it's sometimes we do something because of the ego, but also we feel the ego because we succeeded on something.
yeah.
We made that we're something that we're really proud of.
Mm,
I mean, I'm proud of the work that I've done in a lot of the customers,
mm,
because in the end, they have long-standing complex solutions that are running today, right,
mm,
in the
Mm.
cloud and worldwide and everything. But I think my success is are the colleagues, the friendship, and all of these relationships that I have harvested during all
mm,
of these years in my
mm,
career, right? I think I'm proud to say that a lot of the people who I've worked with or have connected with, they are still reaching out to me. They look for me, so I'm never disconnected. I'm always connected to someone. They are connecting to me, so I think that shows that I had some impact, on these folks, and
Mm.
I tend to think that this was positive for them and for myself as well, because this is bi-directional.
mm,
So I think that's what makes me happy, that when a door gets closed to me, then I have a few of them open, right?
yeah,
Every time that I go to a country, and then I have someone calling me, hey, you want to meet or whatever, right? So I think
mm,
I think those are the great things, and the biggest, not mistakes, but the biggest wins for me, right?
Yeah.
I like how you take
The,
it to people there.
the
It's
success story is that
yes,
the friends that you meet. I mean, it's great. I mean, you close like projects, but you win friends
yes,
always.
Yeah, absolutely, and
Mm.
experiences, right? I mean,
yeah.
man, I have, yeah, I have so many experiences in my mind, but you know what? It's just to close on this topic. It's all about the people, man. It's all about. We tend to forget that sometimes. You know, we tend to, I don't know, abstract ourselves, but it's all about the people that you create relationships with, right?
Mm,
That's why the reason we started this podcast from the start, because we wanted to know more. We read Harold's content out. We see
mm,
your videos. We see a lot of technical parts there.
mm,
This is part of our lives, because I do that in the weekend. Sometimes I read something that's interesting.
mm,
It's not just uh, under my work hours.
mm.
It's embedded in my time. I need to know more
Yeah,
about the people that I'm reading from.
yeah,
So it's not only the projects and the technical tips that we get, or
yeah, exactly.
No, thank you. I'm very thankful for this. You know, this is a fantastic opportunity. I think. I mean, I congratulate you guys for this effort. You know, this integration love story. I hope. I mean, we spoke a little bit about integration, right? About patterns, but I think overall, you know, um, this also clears the air with in the integration basis, because sometimes um, you know, there's a perception that integration is just calling a web service or calling an
Yeah,
API, right? And it's nothing like that. You know, integration has its own complexity, and it's a place where you innovate.
yeah,
You know, you innovate not in the endpoint. You innovate, you know, by bringing data,
yeah,
by
exactly.
that from A to B, by connecting things. So that's why at Microsoft we say, or in our team we say, innovate where you integrate. You innovate when you integrate, right? So then the more integration you do, the more opportunities you have to do innovation.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
that's
my like picture of when I actually understood integration was when you're standing in the middle of a project with all these systems and all these product owners and everything, and you just like get a clear picture of the architecture, and you can almost like see and hear what how the flows will go when people talk about a certain solution or a new idea, and then you feel like I know how to do this. Just
just gave me
I
energy.
I know exactly what field you are talking about, and I know why it's wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can measure to that, right?
Yeah, I love it, and even though we are in the background, we are very much in the middle, and relationships is key.
But also
Absolutely.
relationships here. Also, there is also other things. That's not only people that we are interested. You've been touching it a bit now, and then you went to integration.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the relationship between integration and music. You have been mentioning them as two different things now, but it's about both of them are parts of you. What inspires the other?
You know, we also love with my kids, my children, my wife. We go to see plays, right? The last one was Requiem by Mozart,
Hmm.
and I mean, there is something mystical, you know, between the music, the plays, right? The music sheet, the the arrangements and everything, right? The scores, and integration. They have the same goal. You know, the same goal is to achieve something beautiful by connecting the dots. You know, by
Hmm.
connecting different things. Um, when my daughter was uh, using her clarinet, she was practicing for her Christmas play, which is tomorrow. You
Mm.
know, my wife said to me, well, I don't like that song, you know. I said, well, it's not a song. She's playing her part, right? She was playing her part, and sometimes in the part you listen at portions of the music, the score, right? Just one tone, and then another one, then another one, then silence. But then it's, you know, all of the when all of the instruments they come to play together, it's when, you know, you get the actual music. And the same thing happens with integration. With integration, you don't integrate just with one endpoint, with one system. I mean, you don't mono integrate, right? You require different systems, protocols, networks, patterns, everything.
Mm.
If you see them in isolation, they
Mm.
don't mean much. But when
Yeah.
you working together, then that's where you see the actual business value, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's probably the simile that I will bring between
That
both.
that's really cool idea. And I also you would need an orchestrator for that. And there comes the Logic app.
Here, here we go.
Yes.
That exactly Logic Apps, BizTalk server in its days, host integration server in its days, and now Logic Apps, which is inheriting what is coming from BizTalk server and host integration server, and more new stuff and cool stuff and the great things that this new world, this brave new world is bringing to all of us.
Yeah.
A world
Yeah.
of complexities, right?
Can you mention just one feature that you're really looking forward to, and that you know that the audience could look forward to? Is there something that you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are actively working on a general availability of the rules engine. We are bringing some additional features to capabilities to the feature. We are also actively working on closing the gap between BizTalk and Logic Apps.
Mhm.
So for that, more than announcing the ask that I have for you guys is I will add a link as well
Yeah.
with a survey for those customers who are running BizTalk workloads. What are they asking for from Logic Apps? Because the goal that we have
Mm.
in the Logic Apps team is to make it the best home for Visto customers, the
Mm.
best destination. And what
Mm.
does it best mean? I mean, best means for us most cost effective,
Mm.
less refactoring. And we know that it's impossible to just move from here to there, without refactoring. There has to be some level of refactoring. But we want to tie that refactoring with value,
Yeah.
right? So it's not just if I ask you just migrate because of the sake of it, you
Yeah.
will not do it. If
Mm.
I ask you to do just something because I think it looks good, you will not do it. Is there a business value in it? Am I bringing improvements? Am I bringing more return of investment ROI for you, or more TCO for your investments, right? For your the ownership of your assets. So I think that's what we should be looking forward to,
Yeah.
right? So with that survey, it would be
Yeah,
great if you
so
can.
yeah, for everyone looking at this clip, click on the survey
Yeah.
that's linked to this
And we will share
description.
it also when we share this episode. So
Mhm.
yeah, we'll definitely share it to the
Yeah,
world. Yeah. Yeah.
and here come your favorite part, two favorite parts, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we already touched upon it, but I want to dig a bit deeper. I mean, the show, the episode, or the podcast is called Integration Love Story. You already mentioned that you fell in love with integration like 2 decades ago. And can you tell us like a story about where you actually fell in love with it, or a
Oh yeah,
project, or
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, 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 yeah. When there was Vista Server 2000,
Mm.
um, we I was working for a vendor, a Microsoft partner
Mm.
in Peru. I don't know, it was 2000. I was probably 22 years old, 20 something, and I was just reading about BizTalk,
Mm.
and I said, well, I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, what does it actually do? Because I saw a message box, I saw ports, I saw, well, this is an interesting concept, for integration. I knew about other products, about MQ series back then, about
Yeah.
MQ, about IBM MQ integrator, and um, not much about this. So then, the more I read about it, the more in love I fell off with this. So,
Yeah.
when I read about HIS, I was like shocked. I said, "Wow, I didn't know that things like that were possible." So then they flew me to Seattle to this airlift. They call it Vistock airlift, and I saw some Vistock names, big Vistock names back in the day.
Mm.
Presenting about VSTOC, and I loved it. And then I saw a host integration server, green screens,
Mm.
and then I saw this person presenting about how HIS did the mapping of the data. I said, well, you know what, this is opening, and I opened it for me.
Mm.
And that's when I decided to have my VSTOC certification, and I got certified in VSTOC, and I was the first VSTOC certified in Peru.
Oh.
For about a year, it was known like that. I was the 5, he's Mr. 5. He was in a beta. I don't think he was. I think the
Yeah,
first
2000 was new. Like
yeah,
it's
it
really
was even beta. It was not the actual, but I got the beta one, and it was for free and everything. And that's when I fell in love about integration.
yeah,
When I saw how this product was born, and then I got certified on it and the training, I was flying, man.
Yeah.
That was this is it. I say it doesn't get any better. I was never I would have never thought that I was going to be now part of the BizTalk server team, right? The PM
Yeah.
for BizTalk server. That's to me, that's pretty much the cherry on the pie, of
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
my integration career, which
Yeah, you did an amazing journey also. Like, and we have been following you also over the years.
Yeah.
You have been creating really good, helping
thank you.
others, and also creating good content, and ending up also being a part of an amazing product like Logic App.
Yeah.
So it's
It's I think something that sometimes get overlooked in this cloud platform as a services is the extreme complexity that
Mm.
the cloud manages behind the scenes, right? I
Mm.
mean, so um, we tend to think, right, that clouds they just you just throw a server and they are connected and that's it. No, I mean, all of these control planes and data planes they are
Mm.
utterly complex, right?
mm,
And on top of that complexity, so then you have services that do integration and that can parallelize and can be elastic and they can, work very close to as if you will be working on a VM. Close because not identical. In a VM, you have more freedom.
Yeah.
Like you have control of the threads, you have control of
yeah,
better control of CPU and everything. In the cloud, is different. So I think kudos for the team who was able to build, something
yeah,
abstract so much complexity into something for you to just see in a designer,
Yeah.
to do all of those great things, going through service providers tiers, to and then connectors and then the engine and
Mm.
then the control plane and then the data plane and the control plane and
it's
then the working and everything just to give you data from a 60 years old legacy system and integrated with an open AI so then create stuff in an scalable manner. So that is where we are now, right? I mean, you see
Yeah.
that huge evolution. That's where we are headed, and I love it.
Yeah.
yeah. I can see that, and I even it feel out to me now. Now I even love it more
Yeah.
because the way you describe it's too many layers. I
Yeah.
cannot not fall in love with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It is. And sometimes, sometimes we see issues. There is a problem. Hey, how can you fix? Why haven't you fixed this faster?
Mm.
Right? And then you start realizing that you got to peel all of the layers, and then there is a lot of complexity behind the scenes, and I think we are in the this is the pinnacle, of what
Mm.
of our business of IT to me, right? I mean, we are getting to a point where the born of the large language models, right, and generative AI and everything. I think that shows, how much progress we are making. We've been making over the last 20, 30, well, in the case of AI, 50 years. But you see what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get at, right? It's just
Yeah.
the abstraction of complexity. So then folks who are not necessarily well versed in technologies, they can just use technologies as if, they will be doing something casual in the day.
Yeah. Exactly.
it's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's very cool, and I think that we could. I mean, I think that we should definitely have a session or an episode just talking about BizTalk migration and just talk. I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about, but I guess that the final question in this episode is, as most of our episodes,
mm.
we want you to challenge the next guest with a question regarding anything.
Okay, so regarding anything, that's a great question. So um, the question will be, if it's about anything, will be, um, what is the best how can I say this, right? Um, the best that they can have achieved, by leaving home, right? Because
Mm.
not everybody leaves home, right? By leaving home, what is their best accomplishment? What is their success story, or an anecdote, right? Something to share about that is standing for this person. Like
Yeah,
if you can ask that, then um, that would be great.
That's
we would definitely bring that question.
yes. And I think I just want to end this up and wrap this up with one thing and
Yeah.
with one thing out. If you're like, if there is a soundtrack about your career, what will it be?
Samba Cantina. Samba Cantina is yeah, absolutely. I'm talking about Robin, right?
Yeah.
Samba Cantina. Samba Cantina is a song by Paul Desmond.
Mm.
Um, it's a beautiful composition by Paul Desmond, the alto saxophone player.
Mm.
I'll add it in the link, right, as
Yeah.
well. But it's such a beautiful song that I cannot stop playing at home. I think I probably played like I don't know 500 times, at
Yeah.
home, and I just don't get tired of listening. Right? I mean,
Yes.
it's a beautiful song. I'll write the names, then you have it, and then you can share it also
Yeah.
with the
Yes.
Thank you
audience.
Thank
so
you.
much. And I guess that, I mean, we are so grateful, but I want to give you the final words, Harold. If people are listening and want to follow you, where to follow, and yeah, where do we find you if we want to?
Okay, so no, thank you. So I'll add my LinkedIn contact, right? So I'm in LinkedIn at H Campos U.
Mm.
In LinkedIn, I'm in YouTube as well at H
Mm.
Campos U as well,
Mm.
right? And I'm in X as well. Yes, I'm
Mm.
in Twitter, in X as well.
Yeah.
It's an interesting platform, but it's
Not Blue Sky.
I'm there. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Blue Sky also, or
Oh no, I'm not in Blue Sky,
okay.
yeah, but you can find me in those three places, or email me at hcampos@microsoft.com, and I'll be happy to help you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today, and it was an honor having you. And this conversation, I can keep it on for days. I really enjoyed it, and we hope to have you here again
Yeah. Here in
because
person also.
here in person, yeah, maybe in yeah, exactly,
I'll
that would
love
be
you.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you so much. Thank you for the time. Thank you for doing this. I mean, guys, congratulations with the integration of stories, and looking forward to continue, connecting and working together and integrating as well. Okay.
thank you,
Definitely.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Harold. Thank
Thank
you.
you.